You've probably heard the name Steve Jobs before, the co-founder of Apple, a visionary, someone people still talk about everywhere, from business schools to YouTube videos. But today, let's slow things down for a second. This isn't just another success story. This is about real life, messy decisions, failures, uncertainty, and the lessons that come out of all that. So let me ask you something. What if you could take the most important lessons from someone's entire life and understand them in just a few minutes? Would you listen? Back in 2005, Steve Jobs stood on a stage at Stanford University. He wasn't there to show off. He didn't use big words or complicated theories. He just told 3 stories. Simple stories. But if you really listen, those stories stay with you. So let's walk through them slowly, honestly, like a real conversation. Steve Jobs didn't have a straight path. In fact, he dropped out of college after just 6 months. Now, think about that for a second. Most people would panic. Society tells you, finish school, get a degree, follow the system. But Jobs felt something wasn't right. He didn't see meaning in what he was learning. And more importantly, his parents were spending their life savings just to keep him there. That didn't sit well with him, so he made a decision that didn't make sense to most people. He dropped out. But here's the part most people don't talk about. Dropping out didn't mean giving up. Instead, he stayed around campus and started attending classes he was actually interested in. No pressure, no grades, just curiosity. One of those classes was calligraphy. Yeah, calligraphy, learning about typefaces, spacing, the beauty of letters. At the time, it looked completely useless. No career path, no clear outcome. But Jobs followed his curiosity anyway. Years later, when he was working on the first Macintosh computer, that useless knowledge became incredibly valuable. That's why Macs had beautiful fonts, clean design, attention to detail that other computers didn't have. Something he learned with no plan. Ended up shaping the future of technology, and that's where the lesson hits. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. Right now, things in your life might feel random, confusing, even pointless. But sometimes, you just have to trust. Trust that what you're learning, what you're going through, it will make sense later. Now, here's where things get intense. Steve Jobs found what he loved early in life. At just 20 years old, he and his friend Steve Wozniak started Apple in a garage. No big office, no fancy setup, just 2 guys with an idea. They worked hard, took risks, believed in what they were building, and within 10 years, that small garage project turned into a billion-dollar company with thousands of employees. Everything was going perfectly, until it wasn't. At 30 years old, Steve Jobs was fired from Apple. Let that sink in. The company he built kicked him out. It wasn't quiet either. It was public, messy, painful. He felt like he had let people down, like he had failed. For months, he didn't know what to do. And honestly, anyone in that situation would feel the same. But slowly, something changed. He realized he still loved what he did. That passion didn't disappear just because he got fired. So instead of giving up, he started again from zero. He built a new company called Next. He also invested in another small company called Pixar. Now here's the crazy part. Pixar went on to create Toy Story, the first fully computer animated film in history. It changed the entire film industry. And years later, Apple actually bought Next, which brought Steve Jobs back to the company he started. Think about that. The thing that looked like his biggest failure ended up becoming the reason for his biggest comeback. That's the lesson. Sometimes life hits you hard, really hard, but those moments, they're not the end. They're a reset. They push you to grow, to rethink, to rebuild. So if you haven't found what you truly love yet, keep searching. Don't rush it. Don't settle, because when you find it, you'll know. This one is different. It's deeper, more personal. When Steve Jobs was 17, he read something that stayed with him. Live each day as if it were your last. Sounds simple, right? But he actually lived by it. Every morning he would look in the mirror and ask himself, If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do? If the answer was no for too many days in a row, he knew something needed to change. Now, imagine living like that. No pretending, no wasting time, just honesty. Then one day, his life took a serious turn. He was diagnosed with cancer. Doctors told him he might only have a few months to live. Everything suddenly became real. Time, choices, priorities. But later, they found out his condition was treatable. He had surgery and he survived. Still, that experience changed him forever, because when you face something like that, your perspective shifts. You realize fear doesn't matter as much. Other people's opinions don't control you anymore. And all the small things you worry about, they fade away. What's left is what truly matters. The work you love, the people you care about, the life you actually want to live. At the end of his speech, Steve Jobs didn't give a long summary. He just shared one simple line. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Stay hungry, meaning never stop wanting to learn, never get too comfortable. Stay foolish, meaning don't be afraid to try things that don't make sense. Take risks, be different. Because here's the truth, your time is limited, so don't spend it trying to live someone else's life. Don't let noise from the outside drown out your own voice. Trust yourself, follow what feels real to you, and build a life that actually means something. And hey, if this video made you pause for a second, if it made you think a little deeper about your own life, then don't just scroll away. Hit that subscribe button, because this channel is all about real stories, real lessons, and ideas that actually stick with you. Stay with us. You might just find something that changes your perspective. See you in the next one.